Okay, so right on time. I don't know if it was like the anniversary of it or what was happening, but Nike, I think it was like in kind of like in the same motion of this documentary that came out on Netflix about creativity and stuff. Like one of the first people they interviewed was um, the guy who designed the Jordan 13s. Um, and then if you went to the Air Jordan website, they had this dope feature and breakdown on them. So I took a couple screenshots of what is, see, as you can kind of see in this illustration, the shoe was to mimic sort of like a paw, and so I thought that was tight, dude. And so, this was an all black version of the shoe they had coming out. Just everything about the shoe I liked, man. Like the swat and how it was designed, just the shape of it and everything. Even the back, when you look at the back of the shoes, what's going on there. I love all that, man. Look at that. There's a lot of detail in the shape that I just really like. It's kind of like got a weird. You don't see really any hard edges. Everything's like smooth curves and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of curves, especially on women. But the sole even of the shoe, look at that, dude. It's pretty cool. It's like pads, like you'd see on an animal's foot. You know what I mean? It's pretty dope. And then the hologram and the story behind it, as far as it mimicking the eye of a cat, reflecting light at night and stuff, it was just dope, dude. And then of course there was the breads. This is an illustration version of it, I guess, but the breads were tight too, dude. Like that's probably the issue. I used to work at a music store, and one of my managers was a hardcore. It still is a hardcore Jordan head, dude. And he would always, like, on special days, he would break out these breads, man. And I never ever was thought like, man, I could get these if I wanted them. And then I remember when I first got my first pair of Jordans, it was like, when I first started learning about credit cards and stuff like that, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna treat myself to some Jordans. I never bought myself Jordans, and at the time, I ended up buying like the 15s. So I think 15 or 16s. Those were like the really futuristic looking ones. You know what I'm saying? I still have them. They're in with the rest of my shoes. But those were the first Jordans I got. But these were my favorite Jordans out of all the Jordans that had come out till this day, all the way up to 23. Actually, this is a close tie with the 23. The 23, obviously, I like for sentimental reasons because it was the number of his jersey and stuff like that. But the 13s, man, these were the shoes like I loved everything about it. I won't geek out about them too hard, but these were my favorite shoes right here. And this was like a step up from the Air Barrages that I talked about earlier in another video. This one didn't have the same as weird, huge padding on the side as far as the shoe went, but you can kind of see it still had the four, 1, 2, 3, if you count the front one, fourth pad. Whereas on the Air Barrage, it was like they were equal, almost the same shape of space and almost more like teeth than pads. But these I liked. Again, the shoe still had a mech flavor to it. And again, if you think, again, earlier I talked about the those Pumas and how they had that weird boot feel to them. These kind of had that feel to me too. Like they reminded me a little bit of the Puma and how it looked on my foot. It's a coincidence, right? You got Puma and you got the Black Cats, right? You got the 13. Maybe that's what I'm doing, subconsciously connecting them. But the way the shoe was shaped and looked on my foot reminded me a lot of the Pumas I had as a kid. And so this is my favorite shoe. And so I was like, man, if I could turn this into a foam posit, that's what I want to do. Because then anytime I needed 13s, instead of having to spin the arm and the leg, I could literally just pour a mold and make a custom fitted 13 that literally contoured to my foot. And that was what started this process. I was like, I'm going to try and do that. But then some things kind of got, introduced into this. Some variables came up, and I was like, it ended up kind of steering me into some slightly different direction. So anyway, that was my favorite shoe, the 13s, man. Any colorway really, but the black and the reds were like probably my favorite. So.